You guys say trick or treat. He's not having it.
Thank you.
You knock on the door. It says. Yeah. Scream now.
Hey, it's Mike on Religious Dystopia. What you just watched there is my son trick-or-treating over at KOA a couple weekends ago with my friend Eric. And me and my friend Eric Gibbs went out on the 21st and the 22nd of this month. That'd be Friday and Saturday, the last weekend when we had some decent weather, to do some stargazing, to film the stars, and whatever else we might film. It turned into also filming orbs, and ended up filming some orbs over the cemetery, out in the country. Some strange things, anomalies, whether they're satellites, planes, whatever, we don't know. It's filmed even Saturn and some of its moons. You'll see at the end of this video, Orb Whisperer, one of his videos, and how he captured actually a real orb. And it can help you to distinguish between dust and a real orb at night. Also, we'll be listening to some of Steve's readings of emails he's received over the years. One is of a lady who's a nurse who said that she had an experience with a young man who came into, I guess it'd be ER or something like that, after having an encounter with a Bigfoot or swamp booger or Sabe or whatever you want to call it, Sasquatch, in which it tried to bring him into a tree. Then another email from a young man, and that first one would be in Florida. This one would be in, I think, Arkansas, Missouri, somewhere in that area. And where he talks about how his encounters with these things, in which the strange behavior of rocks, a tree or a log being thrown, how never finding any footsteps. Could there be some connection with the orbs and Bigfoot? Before that, I'll show you a gift that was given to me in a tree that was the main limb was broken off. Hey, it's about 25 feet up in the air, maybe 20 feet, probably be the best bet. I couldn't do it. Anyways, kind of looks like me with my glasses, or a Bigfoot with a cone head and with eyes, and you could tell that it was some kind of artwork in which they gave to me. Ironies is about 25 feet from my car, and about 35 feet from my kitchen window, so I get a chance to look at it all the time. And when I go to my car, I get a great view every time I climb into my car. So this right here, these images are a couple of the tree spears, Bigfoot, Sabe, Sasquatch, whatever, that I filmed during the day in my neighborhood. This is one right here, and if you look closely, you'll see the eyes, you'll see even the hands, you'll see all sorts of interesting things, even a little bit of eye shine. This is my neighbor's yard, and which this one's popping out of a tree. Like I said, they pop out of trees, they pop out of the ground. You tell me how that happens. You don't have to believe me, go find out for yourself. In fact, I even had an interesting face come out of the tree today when I went out to the car and go run and do an errand, and there's a big old grin, big old smile, something popping out of the tree. And I just said, hey guys, thanks for the gift, thank you for the totem, which you're going to about see, and you know what's going on, and I do, but most people don't. Not because I'm better than anybody else. I've been marked for better or worse. Enjoy the journey. Enjoy this video. And may the Creator God, the Lord of all spirits, bless you a million times more than He'll ever bless me. And I sincerely mean that. And enjoy this video.
What are you doing? Are we going to go feed the duck first? Dad? Dad? Are we feeding the ducks first?
Yes. Sorry, we're doing stuff.
We've both always been outdoors people. In fact, that's what drew us together. We never really discussed Sasquatch or Bigfoot, but since living full-time in an RV and hiking in numerous areas, we've become more aware of not just Sasquatch, but other wildlife we aren't familiar with as well. Back in 2018, shortly after we started this journey, we were coming back to the campground that we were staying in, located in Middle Tennessee, called Deep Valley. It's a very small, privately owned campground near the Cumberland Plateau Mountains. We had been there a few months and hiked all over the woods there. We never saw or heard anything unusual. One spring night, when returning home from shopping, we heard the loudest blood-curdling scream. We were in a truck on the street, turning into the campground. We looked at each other and both said, "What the hell was that?" As we pulled into our campsite, we were exiting the truck, we heard it again. This time, though, it was close. Very close. It sent shivers all down our spines. It rang in our ears long after the screaming stopped. To say we were both scared shitless would be an understatement. We tried all night to rationalize what we heard. Countless hours on the internet, pulling up animal sounds from fox to mountain cats, hoping to hear that scream, to put a face to what we heard. We have to this day never heard that sound duplicated by any animal. Because that encounter started me thinking, really thinking about my own beliefs. That brings me to my asshole moment. Like I said, I'm a nurse, and I'm from Florida, the city of Tampa to be exact. MacDill Air Force Base is located there. I'm not sure if that makes a difference in the story or not. I work the night shift as an emergency department nurse at Tampa General Hospital. It is located near the bay where people jog, fish, and bike, etc. One night in 1993, a young man, who was about my age that time, was brought into the ER for superficial wounds, cuts, dehydration, and I noticed it said psych eval. Standard if someone comes in rambling about things. Apparently he had been running through the brush, palm leaf bushes, and trees, hence the scratches, scrapes, and cuts. He was rambling about being kidnapped. He sought out a payphone, remember those? And he called the police for himself. When it was my turn to go in and get his vitals and make sure that the IV had was working, a colleague nurse who initially triaged him said to me, "Be careful, this one's drunk and obviously on something. He's babbling about a skunk ape grabbing him." Note, Sasquatch/Bigfoot is called skunk ape down south. She then laughed and I just rolled my eyes. When I went into the room, this 20-something-year-old man was in a fetal position and crying. I checked on everything and then asked him what was wrong. His eyes got wide as saucers. He grabbed my arm hard. He then told me a story. He stated that he went down to the bay to go fishing near MacDill Air Force Base. He snuck around the fencing, hoping the MPs, military police, wouldn't catch him. He had brought a six-pack of beer with him. He kept telling me over and over how he wasn't drunk. The doctor says I'm just drunk, but I'm not. He said he had his back to the wooded area and was loading the bait on his hook when he caught a scent of something putrid. A skunk smell mixed with rotting hot garbage, full of dead fish. He had longer hair in the back, a fashionable mullet haircut to be exact. Anyways, he looked around for what was causing the smell when something or someone grabbed the back of his hair and started dragging him. He started screaming and kicking. He managed to look up and saw a hairy man, about 7 feet tall, dragging him toward a large cedar tree. He stated he honestly thought the creature was going to bash him against the tree. Instead, he said, they went into the tree, like an invisible door or something. He then woke up on the beach area about 6 to 8. They went into the tree. He stated he honestly thought the creature was going to bash him against the tree. Instead, he said, they went into the tree, like an invisible... He honestly thought the creature was going to bash him against the tree. Instead, he said, they went into the tree, like an invisible door or something. He then woke up on the beach area about 6 to 8 feet from his fishing gear and the other 4 beers left. He stood up and just started running as fast as he could to get to a store or area where there was a payphone. He called the cops, told them what happened, and they brought him to the ER. I asked him, well, what happened when the skunk egg took you to the tree? I said it sarcastically. I know I did. He also could tell I was another person who didn't believe him. I could see it in his face. I did feel guilty. I could see how my sarcastic tone hurt him. I'm not a bitch nor a hateful nurse. I apologized for my tone and told him to please continue to tell me what he saw or what happened when he went into the tree. He answered he couldn't remember. He must have blacked out. The only thing else he remembers was waking up on the beach. Looking back now, I wonder if he really didn't remember, if he was just saying that because he'd seen I was going to treat him like all the rest of the staff. I went back to the nurse's station and, yes, acted like a real asshole, laughing and making fun of him with the other nurses and doctor on shift. It wasn't until meeting my husband and several experiences and adventures later, as well as first-hand knowledge myself, did I self-reflect and realize that my way of thinking about many topics, including Sasquatch, needed to change. I need to be more open-minded. Just because I haven't experienced something doesn't mean the other person didn't. I regret to this day not only making fun of that patient, but not taking him seriously. I pray that patient has gotten help and it didn't scare him mentally for life. My gut tells me he is still suffering. Maybe he stumbled upon your channel. Maybe he will hear this email and know that I'm truly sorry for not believing him and thinking what most think. Oh, he's probably drunk. Or the famous line, I believe you believe what you saw. That line is bullshit. I can't stand it when someone blurts that shit out. I'm not sure if what my husband and I heard that night in the campground was a Sasquatch. I'm not sure what happened to my patient that night was a skunk egg. But I know I personally will never dismiss what someone says as an encounter. Was an encounter. I thankfully learned from that experience in the ER how to be a better and more empathetic nurse. Again, thanks for what you're doing. Not only is it helping the people experience something, but hopefully it will also reach people who were like me, assholes. Assholes who don't know how to be part of the community. Feel free to use my name, Anissa Osborne. I know it's hard to pronounce, LOL. That's pretty easy, I think, although I do find a lot of things hard to pronounce. Anissa, thank you so much for that email. I believe you're leading the way and changing a lot of people's attitudes without a doubt. And hopefully that person is still alive and didn't turn to drugs, alcohol, substance abuse to alleviate that emotional pain. It's a lonely place for many people, right? And to have something like that happen, holy cow, that is something else. That's definitely something a David Blass would be interested in looking into if you could possibly get a hold of that patient, that person. Who knows? Maybe they're watching the channel. There's a good chance of it. What do we got? We're pushing up on 200,000 subscribers. And then this combined with the other channel, which has only got 20-something thousand, there's a combined 7 million views a month. So the chance of that person, if they're still alive and emotionally capable, they're probably, they just might be watching this channel. And hopefully they'll email in and chime in and take name drop you in the email. And we can hear their side of the story. And maybe they got more to share. But anyway, thanks for coming forward. You're not the only one. Every single one of us who's a human being has cringe moments from our past. That's how we learn, right? We are not born perfect, especially me. We all make mistakes. I make mistakes while I'm doing this. I make mistakes in this channel, right? But I'm still learning. I'm still growing, and I'm definitely. Every single person here is. We're not going to stop until we're dead, right? And then even after we're dead, we're going to go on to that next level and keep going. But anyway, thanks again for sending that email in. And I'm going to get my butt going and get up this mountain. I'll keep snooping around, eventually make my way back. I'll switch up cameras. I know the Sony doesn't die. Dear Steve, Dear Steve, I'm watching your channel for about 6 months, and I thought I would share a few strange events that have happened to me in the past year. My name is Eric. I live in central Missouri. I've lived here my whole life on a vacation spot called Lake of the Ozarks. I grew up spending every day in the woods like most people I've seen posting on your channel. I've never had any strange incidents happen to me except until this last year. I'll try to give this short I'll try to keep this short, but apologies if I start rambling. About a year ago, I met a friend who was really into arrowhead hunting. We started hunting arrowheads together near his home, located by a state park, a tourist attraction called Swinging Bridge. The first strange encounter happened one night when we were camping along the river. I was in my tent around midnight, and my buddy was at the river's edge night hunting. Anytime I refer to hunting, it's meant as arrowhead hunting. Anyway, suddenly tent is hit by a rock. Not a large rock, but big enough to make the sound of a rock hitting gravel after it bounced off my tent. I thought it was Travis fooling around, and about a minute later it happened again. I went outside to confront Travis about it, and he just shrugged me off, thinking I was playing some sort of a gag on him. Later that night, we were both hunting together in the river when Travis needed a new flashlight. He went up to his truck maybe 50 yards away, and just when he reached it, it was hit by a rock. So, this begins our strange journey of weird stuff in the woods. That night, we had, I think, 5 or 6 more rocks thrown, not at us, but always landing 5 to 10 feet away. We hunt all over central Missouri, but only have strange things happen on this one stretch of river near the Swinging Bridge. We usually hunt at night because it's cooler and arrowheads are easier to see in the water. After this first rock throwing event, it started to happen more often. Rocks were thrown when we were on our way out, never heading through the woods to the river, but only when we were leaving. It has become so often that many times we don't even react to it or say anything to each other. We've taken several other people who don't believe us out there, and they've all seen it for themselves. Rarely anymore can we go hunting there without the goodbye rocks on the way out. In fact, if you're leaving and nothing's been thrown, one of us will say, "Well, it's about time for the rocks," and most of the time a rock will hit nearby afterwards. This went on all last spring and summer, and we just got used to it. We both have flashlights that we call the God Illuminators. They are 100,000 lumens, and we can light up the woods like an airport runway, but have never seen, heard, or smelled anything, just rocks hitting all around us. Until one night about 2 months ago. We're hunting a riverbank we call the Big Bank. I was on one end and my buddy was on the other, about 100 yards away. I had 2 or 3 rocks thrown near me, so I walked down to where he was, and he said nothing had happened on his end. We walked back to where I'd been, and I wandered down by the river's edge while Travis stayed by the wood line. About 10 minutes later, I looked up, and Travis was waving furiously at me with a look on his face I'd never seen. I thought he must have found a nice point, so I wasn't in a hurry to get there until I noticed that he was filming something in the woods. I got back to him, and he said, "Something growled at me." We don't have bears here. The woods are mainly full of deer and small animals. As I looked into the woods, I saw 2 sets of green eyes glowing in our flashlight beams. Neither of us had our big lights that night and couldn't light up the entire woods. The eyes were about 25 yards away and about 5 feet or so off the ground. At first, I thought they were deer. Couldn't figure out why they were running off. Just then, one set of eyes went from 5 feet off the ground straight up to about 10 feet. Nothing I know could do this. Even a deer standing on his hind legs could not stand up for long. It was like something was crouching, and then it stood straight up. I just couldn't get my light to shine far enough to show them up, to light them up. Just the glow of their eyes. I made sure I knew the exact spot they were at so I could go look at the prints they made. It was really muddy that night, and even though I knew deer didn't act like this, I tried to convince myself that there would be deer tracks all over the spot where we were seeing the eyes. We filmed it for about 3 minutes, and then the eyes were gone. We quickly went to the spot and seen them, and nothing. Not a single print or anything. Our boots were 4 inches in muddy slop, yet not a single track. It was the first night that we were both ever really scared in the woods. We walked back to the riverbank and were trying to play back the recording when a huge crash of the wood line scared the crap out of us. We walked back up to where we had just left and found a tree about 20 feet long, maybe 10 inches wide, had been thrown at the bank from deeper in the woods. There were no roots or limbs, and both ends appeared to have been broken off. No human or anything else I know about could have lifted, let alone tossed a tree that size. We searched the area and could not find where it had come from. Since then, I've had several other strange things happen to me in the woods, including an incident where I experienced what I can only describe as a teleportation from one place in the woods to another a long ways away. And that's another story. I used to love hunting alone at night, but now I would never think about doing it. One question that me and Travis always talk about is why do the rocks always land with a thud, as if they're falling straight down? If I threw a rock at something a long ways away, it would hit and bounce off the ground or skip off the water. Also, if they're being thrown from inside the woods to out the river, why don't we ever hear one hitting branches of trees? There's never any sound until it just drops the single plunk near us. nothing can be so accurate as to throw a rock out of the woods and never hit anything on the way. Also, I keep asking myself, why would this thing obviously obviously this thing is hiding from us. Also, I keep asking myself, why would this thing that obviously is hiding from us want to throw rocks as we're leaving? Part of me wants to see what this is, but I fully understand that seeing it would ruin my love of the woods. That being said, the last thing I want to throw out there, and I've never heard anyone suggest this, and I get laughed at and mocked every time I try to bring it up, is, what if Bigfoot could fly? It's okay to laugh.
Bingo.
I only say this because of the rock seemingly being dropped from straight above, and I've heard loud, flopping noises above me several times. Keep up the great work you're doing. It has inspired me to not care if people think I'm crazy. You're welcome to use mine and Travis's names, because everyone thinks we are loco already.
going to try, go all the way. Otherwise, don't even start. If you are going to try, go all the way. This could mean losing girlfriends, wives, relatives, jobs, and maybe your mind.